On December 11th, 2023, Practical Task made a tweet saying, "They're calling this the Four Horsemen era of Smash Ultimate." This was just a day after the invitational Watch the Throne happened, with the four best players of the year, Spargo, Sonics, Mia, and Akola, finishing in the top four of the event. The Four Horsemen is obviously a play on the five gods of Super Smash Bros. Melee, those being Mewtwo King, Mango, Armada, Hungrybox, and PPMD. One of the five won every single major without fail from 2009 to 2014, with the streak being broken by that one Guilty Gear player in 2015. And even now, with only two active gods in the Melee scene, both of them are still top 10 in the world over a decade later. To compare the Four Horsemen to the five gods is a big statement, but in the replies of Practical Task's tweet, Ragnar brought in some numbers to back it up, showing that in the entire year of 2023, out of the 35 major tournaments this year that at least one of the Four Horsemen attended, they won 28 of them, a win rate of 80%. Furthermore, Practical Task pointed out that in the second half of the year, this number actually goes up to 94.4%, with only the French and the French dimension being powerful enough to stop the Horsemen. Within the next day, the idea of the Four Horsemen was everywhere, even reaching the top of Reddit's r/SmashBros, which is where I learned about it. Practical Task even tweeted about it, saying that we were one meme or piece of fan art, one HBox video, and one major where all four are in attendance, where the commentators mention it, before this is all a thing we reference next year. And following that tweet, we got this incredible piece of fan art by Max Ham on Twitter. No HBox video or major yet, but it'll probably happen at some point, likely at Genesis X or Battle of BC 6, which the Four Horsemen will not want to miss since Genesis 9 and Battle of BC 5 were both premier events, and the Horsemen will be split 2 and 2 between Luminosity Makes Big Moves 2024 and Umabura SP10. And if the commentators mention it, then I have no doubt that HBox will make a video about it. And speaking of HBox, while I was at the Coinbox IRL, I asked him what he thought of this Four Horsemen narrative, since he's one of Melee's five gods and is a prominent figure in the Smash community overall.
So, what's your opinion on the Four Horsemen narrative?
Yeah, I think it's definitely the four best players, and we need people to beat. So it makes you need a title like that because we're near the maybe end of the meta, so I think it's a fitting title, and it's definitely the best player.
Do you think it's at all comparable to the five gods of Melee?
Sure. Yeah. If it's a clear cutoff and the same people keep winning, then yeah, it's gotta be interesting.
Right.
So HBox's responses are in line with the community, so it truly does seem like this is the direction the game is heading in, much like Melee. But I think it'll be interesting to see how the release of Smash 6, if there is one, will affect the Four Horsemen. Will they all move to the new game? Will they stay with Ultimate? Will they compete in both? And lastly, will this narrative even last? I mean, the five gods won every major for 6 years with almost no one beating them, and the two who did defeat all five being immortalized as God Slayers, and the gods still remaining dominant for years after. But it's too early to really say anything. The story of the gods has been around for 14 years, while the concept and narrative of the Four Horsemen has only been a thing since Watch the Throne, which was less than a month ago if you're watching right after this video releases. And there's only been one major since then, and it's also the last major of the year anyways, with only two of the Four Horsemen even in attendance, so there wasn't a chance for anything to really happen, but next year we'll see how the narrative develops.